we're gonna be painting a basic snowflake. Anyone can do this snowflake. Snowflakes can get really complex and complicated, and each one is unique. But this one is just a few straight lines and some V's, and that's it. And then we're gonna letter on top of it after it dries in a separate video. So if you wanna check out how to letter and use calligraphy on your special DIY handmade, what are these, holiday cards for your family, your loved ones, then make sure you check out those videos where we do the calligraphy, where we do the calligraphy. But let's get started. We're gonna be using an X-acto knife. Watch out, it's dangerous and sharp. A size 6 round brush. All my supplies are linked below. Love this brush. We're gonna use a pencil, and we're gonna use an eraser maybe if we mess up. And then obviously our paper and our paints. My brushes, they're always Princeton. So we're gonna start with a 7 by 10. We are going to find the middle of this paper with my ruler, and I'm just going to mark it, which is gonna be 5 inches, so I have it horizontally mapped out. And I'm marking where 5 inches it is at on both the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to line up my ruler on the top and bottom. I'm not going to draw a pencil line down the middle. I'm going to take my X-acto knife, and I am going to slice. Depending on how sharp your knife is, will depend on how many times you have to do this. I'm going to do about 5. I have a scar from high school art class from an X-acto knife. Be very, very careful. If you're doing this with your children, don't let them touch the X-acto knife. Very sharp. Okay, so we're peeling up that top sheet of paper that I just sliced from the block of paper, and now that we have a nice score, it's really easy to fold. Boom, done. No pressing and all of that kind of stuff. So it's nice, clean fold, no breaking of the paper. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my pencil. I just have a soft lead pencil. It's just a random 7B pencil. I normally go for a 2B or an HB pencil, but this is a super basic, we're not like sketching a portrait or anything crazy, so we're just doing 5 lines. And so I am going to mark the middle of my paper on both horizontal and portrait lines. So this is 7 inches tall, so we're going to find 3.5 inches, which is there. Kind of draw a longer line. And then we're going to find the middle here, 5 inches, which is 2.5. So we're going to come down where that 3.5 was and mark 2.5. And that is our center. So that's going to be the center of our snowflake. All of our lines are going to cross and meet there. So then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to bring up my ruler to the 3-inch mark. So I'm going to point my 3 inches right on that center dot. So find center on your card. We're going to put 3 inches because we're going to do 2 inches this way, or so our lines are going to be 4 inches long. No, 5 inches. I'm really bad at math. Our lines of our snowflake are going to be 5 inches long. That's right, yes. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. So I'm going to start from the 1 mark and draw down to the 5 mark. Does that look even? Yeah. And then I'm going to do the same thing, meet at 3. If these don't end up perfect, it's totally fine. You are going to be painting much thicker than these pencil lines, so it'll kind of make up for it. Make sure you sketch really lightly. And then for these diagonal lines, so I'm making a plus sign. So 5 inches long ways, 5-inch line horizontally. And then I'm going to do 2 diagonal lines intersecting with those 2 lines that I just did. So I'm meeting the center point with my 3-inch mark on my ruler, and I'm going from 1 to 5. And then same thing for the other side. Find 3, go from 1 to 5. Okay, so now we have our lines for the snowflake. I'm going to erase any lines outside of it that were mistakes that I don't need. And then all I'm going to be doing is painting over these lines with some cobalt blue. If you don't have this color, it's really delicious and nice. So you should get it. But if you don't have it, Prussian blue is a great color. You can mix it up like a more smoky blue color with Prussian blue and some black and a lot of water if you want. I'm gonna use cobalt blue with a touch of Mars black. For my snowflake color, you could also use a turquoise color. Totally up to you what color you use. And I'm gonna start out with a really light base color. And then I'm just gonna use wet and wet technique and plug in some darker, more saturated color so that we have some interesting blooms and bursts of color. So these don't have to be perfectly straight and even lines, but I'm just getting down a really wet line base layer, and then I'm going to grab more color. So if it's Prussian blue, it's Prussian blue. I'm using cobalt and a touch of black. And I'm going to plug in darker areas of color here and there. And then paint these other lines in using varying values of color. Then, to make this so it's not just an asterisk, we are going to add some V's. These V's don't have to be perfectly symmetrical or perfectly placed. To me, it's all about these bleeds that you see on the stems of the snowflake that make it really beautiful. All right, so this was eyeballed. Obviously, we planned out the lines a little bit, but there was some tighter spots, some bigger spots, whatever. Doesn't have to be perfect. The more you add these V's, and then if you connect the inner V's to make a big star, it's really cute and it makes a full snowflake. But you definitely don't have to do those inner V's, and you can just stick to the 2 outer ones. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to learn how to letter or calligraph on top of this card, for a holiday card, a little DIY holiday card, make sure you check out that video. We're gonna link it below. And favorite Christmas movie of all time, hands down, best ever in the world. Charlie Brown Christmas. What's yours?
I don't know. National Lampoon's
That's a good
Christmas
one.
Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
So good.
It's very good. It's a very good movie. I would love it if you commented below with your favorite Christmas movie.